The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Hello, everyone. You're welcome to Leadership Podcast. It is yet another edition of The Big Issue. And of course, as usual, our in-house analysts are seated. Together, we are going to take you on the big issue of the day. By my left here, we have Kunle Olasani.
Thank you, Judge. My pleasure.
And of course, to my right, you have Paul Agbo.
It's good to be here, Judge.
So you're all welcome. And of course, without wasting your time, we set the pace for the big issue. Ordinarily, a court of law is the last bastion of hope for the common man, where justice is not just served, but should be seen as served perfectly well. But sometimes justice is subverted when the same court throws spanners in the wheels of justice, thus distorting it from grounding perfectly well. And that is the basis for the big issue today, where the Chief Justice of Nigeria has issued a summon to 6 judges of 6 states, asking them to come answer questions over conflicting court orders issued in their various states. The Chief Judge is summoned by Justice Mohammed Tanko, the CJN, Justices Chibuzo Amadi of Rivers State, Mohammed Abusa of Kebbi, Ijoma Agugwa of Imo, Onoche Anyachebelu of Anambra, Ekon Ikweme of Cross River, and Umar Sadiq of Jigawa. And of course, some of the recent interim injunctions and expedited orders issued that would have overstretched the patience of the CJN beyond elastic limit are the ones pertaining to the leadership crisis in the People's Democratic Party and the ones involving the Anambra governorship poll in Anambra State, in Abga. Of course, we were here last week only.
Yes.
We said something about this. We said the CJN will soon react.
Yes.
Towards this matter.
Yes.
And it just happened yesterday. But before we start discussing it, we are expecting a guest on this program, an Abuja-based constitutional lawyer, Edward Umaga, who will be joining us. But before we get him up, Nigerians have been expressing concern over these conflicting orders issued by court.
Yes.
Of course, just like we began to see that the courts had become black market where you can just go obtain court order, even though it has the jurisdiction to issue such orders. Just like Nigerians were becoming worried, the CJN struck yesterday by issuing a summon. And that summon has to do with the fact that after meeting with him, the chief judges involved will have to meet at a larger meeting of the National Judicial Council, the body that is saddled with the responsibility of addressing such matters. So what can you say about the chief judges and summon yesterday?
If you ask me, George, it didn't come as a surprise. That is one. Two, and if I may say here too, like a prophet, I predicted what happened yesterday, last Friday, on this program, that I know that the CJN will soon act on the embarrassment caused the judiciary by the reckless court orders issued by these judges. I remember yesterday I spoke to a senior advocate and a professor of law, Chief Awakalu, who said, in fact, at some point, I was trying to put down some points as he was talking. At some point, I couldn't talk again because what he was saying was just, I was just laughing. He said, in his word, my brother, in that order given by the Kebbi judge, there is pepper soup inside. That was what the man said yesterday. That there is pepper soup inside, and while eating that pepper soup, the man failed to eat it with long spoon. That he ate the pepper soup with a short spoon, and at the end of the day, there was a drop in his shirt that everybody could see that there is a problem somewhere, and that has led him to or led us to where we are now. And so, like I said, I'm not surprised that the CJN acted. I expected it. In fact, if he had not acted, we should be asking some questions now that probably the leadership of the judiciary knows about what is going on. So that's my view about it.
Well, Paul, I saw a cartoon where a judge of a court was just drunk, holding a bell and a paper. And then the cartoon, what the judge here was shouting was interim injunction.
That's what judge.
Buy one. And then you see politicians who have obtained their own walking away with those injunctions.
That is what Yoruba will call banjo.
This shows how judges have reduced interim injunctions and expected orders in the country. What does this portend for justice delivery system in the country?
It gives credence to some level. If you recall, when recently...
Sorry, Paul, before we go, it's like we have our guest here already.
Okay.
I think maybe we'll just have to take him. He's a legal practitioner. Well, before we continue, let's listen to our guest, Barrister Edward Umaga, an Abuja-based constitutional lawyer. Barrister, you're welcome to Leadership Podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, this is the big issue. And of course, the big issue of the day is the CJN's summon to chief judges of 6 states to explain some of the conflicting court orders given in their domains. What does these conflicting court orders portend for the justice delivery system in the country?
As a matter of fact, the issue of conflicting court orders, they are not new to Nigeria. We find them mostly in political cases. You agree with me that the recent happening in Anambra State, where Professor Charles Soludo was denied ticket of ABGA. They went to Kano, they got a judgment. There was another judgment from Jigawa. Based on what suits the politician at that moment is how he gets looking for judges, which is called forum shopping in law. And it has really, really affected our judicial system, our political system. We are happy that the Nigerian Bar Association has come up to condemn what's going on. The CJN has condemned also in equal force. So it's a terrible situation for us.
Does not really have a mechanism put in place to sanction such judges. Of course, we know that the National Judicial Council is the body saddled with such responsibility to sanction judges. But it seems the mechanism put in place is not strong enough because most Nigerians feel that after summoning the chief judges and then invite the judges involved, they might get away without being sanctioned.
Yes, it's possible, but we have a lot of respect for the NJC. We have seen how they have removed so many judges from office. We have seen how some of them were even imprisoned for corrupt practices. So as a person, and of course, we have seen how the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court have lambasted in very clear terms some judges who were busy forum shopping, especially since the advent of democracy. I will not mention the names of such judges, but you know them just like I do know them. So for the NJC, whenever there is a breach, whenever there is an incident, foreign shopping, like we are seeing now in the case of PDP, giving judgments there and there. We have over five PDP chairmen across the country, with different judgments. We believe that whoever is found wanting, will be sanctioned. We do not have any doubt in the NJC at all.
Well, let's look at a situation where what happened recently has compelled the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mohammed Tanko, to quickly intervene. And of course, this is a reminder, of course, that is what most Nigerians feel, that it is a reminder that the judiciary needs an overhaul. Don't you think some reforms in the judiciary could stop this trend where we have conflicting orders from courts of coordinate jurisdiction?
Yes, of course, the issue of overhaul has become overdue in our judicial system. We recall that when President Muhammad Buhari took over government as at 2016, he went into ransacking, sent DSS and all that to ransack houses of some judges. And then what we found were so alarming. And some persons cried foul. Why should you do that? Whether it was a commando style of enforcing justice against them or not, I do not know. But what we know is that those of them who were innocent were left off the hook. Some were not even arrested at all. So a situation where a judge of the Federal High Court, of the Court of Appeal, or any other judge of coordinate jurisdiction is found to have amassed wealth over and above what is entitled to him under the law, there's every need for the NJC to wade in, to investigate the accounts of such persons, to investigate the number of properties that such a judge has disclosed to the Code of Conduct Bureau, and to find out whether such a person or judge is involved in one criminal activity or the other. It is only then that we can be rest assured that any justice obtained from the courts of law can be called justice indeed. And I will recommend that a lot of new persons, especially the young persons who are practicing lawyers, be brought into the job of the judiciary. Let me point out that the job of the judiciary is a very, very technical and very, very difficult task. The judge has to write longhand, read all night. And so some of the people who are there who don't have the passion for the job, you find them looking for quick money, you find them trying to get rich overnight from politicians, from cases that come their way. But unless you have young people who really want to be passionate about doing justice to all manner of persons without ill feeling, without ill will, and all that, then we have a judiciary that we can really count on as the last hope of the common man.
Well, let's just take this last one before. Yeah, you see, naturally the bench is also culpable when it comes to this conflicting court order. And of course, the CJN has intervened. That is what has led to the summon of the six chief judges of this affected state. But what happens to the lawyers, the learned silks, and some of these senior lawyers who will encourage their clients, especially politicians, to go seeking for these conflicting orders from courts of coordinate jurisdiction? Don't you think the Nigerian Bar Association, the body of lawyers, should also intervene by calling some of these lawyers to order?
All right, let me quickly say that the legal practitioners disciplinary committee has been on standby, has been there from the time legal practice started in Nigeria, and they have been doing handsomely well. As a matter of fact, there is virtually no year that passes by without the legal practitioners disciplinary committee, suspending lawyers from practice, delisting some of their names from the role of legal practitioners, and I can go on and on. Because in the law of corruption is that both the giver and the receiver is culpable. They are liable to an offense. So If a lawyer encourages the giving of bribe to a particular judge and the judge accepts, both the lawyer and the judge are liable for prosecution. In the same manner, a lawyer who leaves Abuja in a matter that happened in FCT to go and file it in Ebonyi State, for instance, or leaves Ebonyi State to go to Sokoto State, for instance, that lawyer is doing what we call forum shopping. And so the judge has a duty to refuse. I will not take your case, go back to your base. And so if a judge takes such a case and gives a judgment that is conflicting, as in the instant case that we're discussing, you see that both the lawyer and the judge have tried to undermine the judicial system. And while NJS is dealing with the judges, the Nigerian Bar Association, through the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee, to be able to deal with the lawyer accordingly. Otherwise, the legal practice will become like a jamboree, become like a buying and selling market where cases, injunctions, court orders, judgments are bought and sold like clothes in the market.
Well, what is the way forward? And then what are your expectations from the ongoing probe by the NJC following the summon of the CJN?
Yes, like I said, I keep on repeating that NJC, you cannot fault NJC in doing of their work. And then if they have the courage to have invited the judges from across the country who are involved already, it therefore means that we expect nothing less than justice. We expect nothing less than fair play from the NJC. We can only add that in giving decisions in terms of sanctions, there must be unbiased, there must be fair to all the judges that are invited. You know, they must do it without any inclination, without any regard for ethnicity, for religion, or political affiliation at all. Whoever that is found wanting to be penalized. Whoever that is found to be free from the allegations, of course, should be set free so that by tomorrow, if I particularly want to go look for forum shopping to do a political case anywhere, I should ask myself, what if I put myself in trouble? What if I put the judge in trouble? Based on the sanctions that were just meted out recently, I should be able to guide myself against such occurrences in the future. So we don't expect anything less from the NJC. We trust their capacity to deliver. We know that they are going to do the best in terms of giving us justice in Nigeria.
All right. Thank you very much, Barrister, for joining us in this program.
Thank you very
It
much.
was a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much.
All right. All right. That was Barrister Edward Umaga, an Abuja-based constitutional lawyer. Of course, he has been able to give us an insight into the implications of such conflicting court orders to the justice delivery system in the country. And of course, he heard what Umaga has said.
Lawyers
The forum shop starts from the lawyer. The lawyer encourages his client, who are mostly politicians, to jump from one court seeking for a favorable judgment.
Yes.
This is what leads to some of these conflicting court orders. A court in Rivers will issue a verdict or an order, issue an order, then another court in KB that has no jurisdiction on the matter.
Instead of the defendant to go to that Rivers court to vacate the order, yes, he now travels from Port Harcourt about 1,000 kilometers to Birmingham KB to get another order. And the courts are put their jurisdiction.
Yes.
Yes.
And after the KB court issues an order,
Another one.
they now run to Cross River State in Calabar.
So after Cross River, maybe they will move to Maiduguri.
That is a situation where you now see that they have turned the whole process into a black market, where you can easily go and obtain a court order and
It makes mockery of the judiciary, it makes mockery of our democracy. And you can see the security agency that raided the homes of some judges, sometimes if you recall,
Yes.
they'll be laughing. They'll be laughing.
That they were justified.
They were justified.
they have been vindicated.
They've been vindicated.
You see,
And it's a threat to our democracy, is a threat to the 2023 election. Because justice now is for
sale.
To the highest bidder.
To the highest bidder. I know the politician can do anything to get this so-called black market justice. And it's dangerous. And I must commend the Chief Justice of Nigeria for that noble move. Those heads of courts of those states, they need to be talked to so that they can go back home and talk to their judges. Those judges heading the various courts. We can't continue this way. It's embarrassing. They will take us serious. I know these things have implication on investment.
Exactly.
It has implication. People don't know. How do we attract foreign direct investment when an investor is seeing what is happening? And
in our justice system.
In our justice system, you think people don't take business cases to courts? When judges can easily give expected induction of expected order.
That means they don't even have confidence in the court again to give them justice.
So, a matter that is not within your jurisdiction, and you are entertaining.
Well, let's just quickly take a short break for some commercials and some kind of publicity. Don't go offline and don't turn your dial. We will be back in a moment. Welcome back. This is Leadership Podcast, and of course, it is the big issue. And the big issue of the day is conflicting court order and the move by the CJN against errant judges. Well, before we went on break, we had a constitutional lawyer, Edward Omaga, who lent his voice by giving us some insight into the implication of such conflicting court orders and what to expect from the Chief Justice of Nigeria and the National Judicial Council as they summon the chief judges of the affected states. So as we were saying, Kunde, you remember last week here, we discussed about these ex parte orders.
Yes.
See, they were becoming too much.
Yes.
And we even said that the Chief Justice of Nigeria and some justices of the Supreme Court had always warned against such ex parte orders, like the conflicting one. You see, it appears as if the CJN is a dog that barks and cannot bite. And it proved us wrong. by taking the action yesterday
Yes.
by way of the summon of the of the 6 judges.
Yes, that is.
How did we get to this now?
Well, if you ask me, this is not the first time we are witnessing this kind of things, and we have seen some judges who have been sacked, some have been suspended. Like, let me give one example. One Justice Talba, I think it's in the Court of Appeal now, during the trial of one Yusuf, a civil servant who stole billions of naira, who was said to have stolen billions of naira. Yes. At the end of the day, the judge gave him, I think, 2 years sentence with an option of fine, and they gave him 250,000 naira fine. Right there in court, the man paid 250,000 naira and went home. And I remember Justice Aloma Mukhtar, then the former CJN, who was the chairman of NGC at that time, had to summon the judge, Justice Taba, and he was disciplined for not, what they said, he did not exercise his discretion very well. Of course, judges have right to exercise their discretion, but he said that, I remember Justice Aloma Mukhtar saying that he did not exercise his discretion very well at that time. So the point I'm making now is that there has always been issues like this in the past, and for me, I would have expected that judges serving now would have learned from the mistakes of those who were before them, and then so that they don't fall into this kind of situation. But you find out that we are still here where some judges will still give reckless orders. Like I said the other time, I talked to a professor of law yesterday. He said that the KB judge should know that the case before the ex parte motion or the case before him lacked every ingredient of jurisdiction, that he doesn't have the jurisdiction to entertain the matter. And that was where he said that maybe there is pepper soup.
He's smelling pepper soup.
Yes, that the ex parte
In
was
that
smelling
particular
pepper soup. Yes.
yes.
And I didn't eat it. He did not eat the pepper soup with long spoon. I ate it with a short spoon,
Well,
and then stained this.
Sorry to cut you,
down.
Nle. I think before we continue, I think our viewers are beginning to send their comments.
Yes.
Yes, and of course, we have Adebayo Amodu, and he has this to say: corruption in the Nigerian judiciary is like pregnancy. It can no longer be covered with bare hands. Like smoke, it has traveled with the air, escaping from narrow openings in windows and doors. Like a wildfire, it has engulfed the roof already, and we can all see from afar. That's a very strong word for.
I agree with you.
Well, I to an extent, because we cannot, because of one issue, paint the judiciary in a bad light. To an extent, I agree with him. Some judges and lawyers are bad examples. Let me put it that way. They are bad examples.
Bad eggs.
Yes, for the judiciary. So I believe those ones, they should look for them, find them out, and weed them out of the judiciary so that they don't corrupt the entire system.
Well, Paul, Nigerians are saying that the judiciary could pose a threat to our democracy by the indiscriminate and conflicting court orders they keep issuing as politicians jostle for position in the 2023 election.
For the confusion everywhere, if we continue this way, judges need to be circumspect in the way and manner they handle judicial matters. When a case emanates from a court or coordinate jurisdiction and outside your jurisdiction, you don't entertain that kind of matter again. I'd expect the KB judge, he should have declined or excuse himself. Decline the matter. that is not from his jurisdiction, area of coverage. Why should I entertain a matter that is from River State? It's a clear case of money buying justice, and that is black market. Those judges need to be warned or sanctioned severely by the ADC.
And you know that
we cannot continue this way because it's a danger to our democracy. Politicians are ready to do anything. They can go to even Niamey in Niger Republic, if it's possible.
At the time they go to all the 36 states
Yes,
of
and
the
they can get the order that suits.
and then when there is nowhere they run to, they go to somewhere like
I remember there was a particular case like that.
We need to purge ourselves of this kind of conflicting judgment from our courts. We need to purge ourselves because it's a danger. It's a signal that look, 2023 will not be good.
I remember there was a case like that, a House of Rep case. I covered that case from the tribunal to the Supreme Court then, but now you don't get to see House of National Assembly cases in Supreme Court, election cases in Supreme Court now. Then it used to get to Supreme Court. So I remember I covered that case from the tribunal. I think it's from which state? I can't remember the state now. I covered the case from the tribunal to the Supreme Court. After the Supreme Court gave the judgment and the man saw that there was nowhere to go again, he ran to ECOWAS court. He ran to ECOWAS court to get another order. So at the end of the day, he was booted out of the National Assembly. So I'm just trying to say that politicians can do anything to get what they want, and sometimes you pity some of these judges.
You see a situation where if they can go to ECOWAS court, it's likely they will even go to industrial court.
That
has nothing to do with political.
Yes, you see, sometimes you pity some of these judges because some of those who helped them to become judges are these politicians. Yes. And when they have this kind of matters,
they will be ready to do their bidding.
So sometimes I will advise some of these judges to also think of their career and the judiciary first, before looking at the good or kindness somebody has done to them in the past.
We want to consider such judges for elevation to the.
That is the point.
We won't. Look at the case of Anambra, from Oka to Dusi. What kind of judiciary system are we?
And you see, the way it baffled me. The one that even baffled me the most was the one involving the crisis in PDP, the leadership crisis. The way they were just coming, these court orders. You see them fly,
if you remember,
you see them flying in the air like bullets.
Yes.
When the reverse order came,
for me,
George, if you remember,
they did not take time. They came in on just give.
George, if you remember, last week Friday when we were here, I said that another order will come.
Might come.
We said it, and I think that day, or was it yesterday, another order came from Calabar.
Yes.
And I like Prophet, I predicted here that the CJN was going to do something. I said it on this program, on this show.
And that's the best thing he has done.
That is it. I commend him for that. I give it to him.
He deserves the commendation.
In the past, what would have always been seen on the news, on the newspaper headlines, you see, CJN warns against indiscriminate
Court
order. It had always been like that. And of course, the thing has been encouraging most of the judges because they had always seen the warning by the CJN.
In 2015,
that of a dog that barks and
in 2015, maybe that election would have been scuttled if not for the intervention of the then CJN Justice Mahmoud Mohammed, who warned. He warned them that you should not grant any ex parte order. He told us at the end of the election. Yes, he told us at the end of the election when he was addressing a gathering that he warned judges that the election would have been scuttled with ex parte order. But he said he warned the judges not to grant any order. What the best the judges should do was to ask parties to come and address him and see the merit or demerit or whatever, decide the case one way or the other, so that the two parties will come address me.
Now you vacate the order.
Then I'll now decide the case one way or the other. Yes.
So finally, what are the expectations? Good and fine. The CJN
Well,
has issued a summon.
Mm.
Of course, the chief judges are going to come explain before the National Judicial Council.
Yes.
What should we expect from such action
Yes.
taken by the CJN?
First and foremost, this is a very good move. This summon of the six judges, the chief judges, is a very good move by the CJN, and I expect that other judges will sit up,
Yes.
especially those who may have the plan to engage in this kind of thing. I expect that with this summon or with this action of the CJN, they will sit up, and then at the end of the day, our democracy will be better for it.
Well, that is the much we can take for today's edition of the Big Issue. And of course, before we go, I would like to thank our in-house analysts who have done a good job in putting the issues before you the way they are. And of course, I will say thank you, Paul.
Yeah, so
It was a very nice time being with you here.
Thank you very much.
Well, you've heard it all. And just like the Supreme Court justices have always insisted, that a court of law is not a Father Christmas that should be granting reliefs and all that to people over issues that were not actually sought for in a lower court or in court that has no jurisdiction to do so. Well, thank you for being with us. It was a very wonderful moment having you watching us. Join us same time tomorrow for another edition of this program. Have a nice day.